What if I told you that saying good job or asking how was school might actually be fueling your child's anxiety? What? I know, it sounds backwards. We're taught that these are the hallmarks of good parenting, right? They're loving, they're engaged, but here's what most people don't understand about autistic nervous systems. These innocent phrases act like invisible demands, hidden mental taxes that drain your child's battery without us even realizing it. And here's the thing, you might have already used at least 3 of them this morning. Today I'm breaking down the 3 invisible demands that are most likely depleting your child's capacity, why they trigger meltdowns that seem to come out of nowhere, and most importantly, exactly what to say instead to build their resilience rather than drain it. So when your child melts down, does it feel like it comes out of nowhere? One minute they're fine, the next they're on the floor because you cut their sandwich the wrong way. But here's what's actually happening. That sandwich wasn't the cause of the meltdown. It was just the last straw. Think of your child's brain like a smartphone running 50 apps in the background. That's what mine does. The screen looks fine, but the battery is silently draining. Every sensory input, the tag in their shirt, the fluorescent lights at school, the smell of someone's perfume, that's an app. Every social interaction, every transition, every time they have to regulate their body or to code what someone meant, more apps. And these invisible demands, they're also apps. They're running constantly in the background, draining capacity. So when your child finally explodes, they're not overreacting to the sandwich. Their battery just hit 0%. And they have nothing left. Our goal isn't to eliminate all demands. That's impossible, and it wouldn't help our children grow. But our goal is to stop adding unnecessary drains so they actually have the capacity left to handle the hard stuff that life throws at them. Let's start with one we've all done, the after-school interrogation. How was school? What did you learn today? Who did you play with at recess? We ask because we care. We want connection. But let's walk through what's actually required for your child to answer that question. First, they have to process what you said. That's auditory processing. Then they have to search their memory for relevant events from a day that was probably a little overwhelming. Then they have to organize those thoughts into something socially acceptable to share. And then they have to formulate words and get them out of their mouths. That's a massive cognitive tax. And when does this usually happen? Right after school, when their battery is already at 15%. The shift is to move from interrogative to declarative language. So instead of asking a question, make an observation. Instead of, how was math? You might say, looks like there's a lot in your backpack today. Or even more simply, I'm glad to see you. See the difference? There's zero pressure to respond. But if they want to share, you've opened up the door. You've offered connection without demanding performance. I still carry a lot of guilt for this one because we would ask my son, what did you do in school? And he would say, reading the book. And still to this day, sometimes you ask him what he did, and he goes, reading the book, like it's a programmed response. Demand number 2 is the one that shocks parents. I also carry a lot of guilt about this one. I'll get to it. Good job. I love how quietly you're sitting. You're being such a good listener. It breaks my heart to think of how often I said these things. I was told to celebrate everything, and I am nothing if not a good rule follower. Wait, isn't praise supposed to be good for kids? Not necessarily when it's evaluative. Here's why. When you say, you're being such a good boy for sitting still, your child's brain hears, sitting still makes me good. Therefore, not sitting still makes me bad. Now they're not just trying to regulate their body, they're also carrying the weight of your judgment. And here's the invisible demand. I have to maintain this perfect behavior or I'll disappoint mom. That's performance anxiety, and it's exhausting. So the shift, are you never supposed to praise? Of course not. Some praise from time to time is definitely a good thing, especially when it comes from the heart, when you feel it. So the shift you want to make is to move from that constant battery of praise that feels like evaluation to peppering in some more descriptive observations. So instead of, good job building that tower, you might say, oh, I see you made a pattern with the blocks. Just an observation. Or instead of, good job being responsible, you might say, thanks for clearing your dishes. You're noticing their effort. You're validating what they did, but you're not adding the pressure of your approval. We want to tell them that they don't have to perform for us. They can just be. And number 3 is the one that causes the most frustration for parents, vague instructions. Clean your room. Be careful. Get ready to go. And then your child just stands there. Or they do one tiny thing and stop. And you think, why don't they just do it? But here's why. Those phrases are abstract concepts. You know what clean your room means because your adult brain can break it down into steps, but your child's brain doesn't automatically do that, even if they've cleaned the room before. So now they're stuck. Does clean mean make the bed? Does it mean put away the laundry? Does it mean organize the bookshelf? Where do I start? They're not being lazy. They're in analysis paralysis, and it's draining their battery while they stand there frozen. The shift is to do your best to be as concrete as possible. And again, this really depends on your child. If your child is older and able to process multi-step instructions like this or vague instructions, go for it. When my son was younger, if I had said to him, get ready, he would probably give me a blank stare. If I would say to him, get dressed, he would know exactly what to do. Today, he can respond to, get ready. So the shift is we want to be as concrete as possible. We want to bridge the executive function gap for them. Instead of clean up, we might say, put the toys in the bin. One task, clear endpoint. No translation required. Save them a ton of cognitive energy. Do we want to do that forever? No, we want to help our child build those skills, but just be aware of when we drain their battery. These demands aren't bad. We're not bad parents for using them, at least that's what I tell myself. But they're expensive. You know what I mean? And now that you know the cost, you can make different choices. So here's my challenge for you. Just pick one of these to swap out this week. Stop the pop quiz, like how was school? Drop the performance review, the praise, or clarify the mind reading. Watch what happens when you stop draining the battery and start building capacity instead. I would love to hear in the comments what you did differently and whether you noticed any kind of difference. And I'm going to work on this too. And I'll let you know in the comments the changes I made as well.